You're not gonna believe what I'm gonna say right now. Japan's female AI bots are getting a major upgrade. And I'm not talking about just any upgrade. This is some next level stuff. Have you ever wondered if a robot can get pregnant? Well, from now it might be possible. Yes, Japan's totally different from the West in terms of its viewpoint on AI. They've always been the pioneer of robotics ever since developing the first humanoid robot in the 1970s. They've been leading the way in realizing the aspiration to create robots that offer companionship to humans for decades. The Japanese believe that AI innovation should be developed alongside, or rather with, a physical artificial body, which is totally different from our viewpoint, which focuses more on algorithms in the abstract. You see, in Japan, the Shinto region is all about animism, which means they believe that everything, even inanimate objects, has a spirit or personality. It's like robots have a spirit. In Japan, people believe that the energy or essence that flows through a living being, called kami, can also be present in artificial entities like robots. So according to Shinto beliefs, a robot is no different from a tree or a rock in terms of having a spirit. In fact, Shintoism believes that humans can shape nature to reveal its true essence. That's why you'll find Japanese gardens with bonsai trees and other carefully designed elements. They believe that by shaping these objects, they can unlock their true potential and reveal their kami. Now, when you combine these beliefs with Japan's long history of technological advancement, it's easy to see why they have a unique perspective on AI. In fact, to them, robots are not just machines, but also living beings that exist as part of the natural world. You're getting it, right? And it's not just their religion that influences their viewpoint on AI. Japan's culture and traditions also play a big role. You see, Japan has a long history of creating lifelike dolls and other objects that come to life in their folklore. So the idea of creating robots that can mimic human behavior and emotions is not a new concept for them. In fact, Japan's love for robots goes beyond just practical uses. They also have a fascination with humanoid robots that can interact with humans in a more personal way. And you can clearly see this in Japanese institutions, where they've created robots that can nurse the elderly and sick, fight fires, carry heavy loads, and perform physical therapy on patients. In addition, the market for physical partners such as robots in Japan is also one of the most developed in the world. Yep, Japan has a market for physical partners such as robots, which is crazy and amazing at the same time. But that's not all. These robots are not just limited to performing one function, they are learning to perform several functions at once. They're being designed to be more like companions to humans and not just tools that we use. What's fascinating about the Japanese is that they feel more comfortable embracing robots as part of one's family than Westerners. They believe that bots are not just machines, but they have emotions, feelings, and personalities. It's basically like the movie Her, but in real life. You're getting it, right? Now, can you imagine having a robot as a companion, friend, and family member? It's like having a pet, but smarter. Think about it, you won't have to worry about them getting sick, injured, or even dying. You can program them to do whatever you want, and they will do it without any complaints. Cool, right? Well, that's what the people of Japan have been up to. One of the best examples of this is Pepper. Now, Pepper is a cute and friendly robot that can greet customers in stores and even read their emotions. Yep, it can even detect your emotions as you walk into a store. How cool is that? In 2023, we all know how troubled and at the same time excited we are due to some of the advancements we've made. Yep, we're talking about ChatGPT. Unlike us, in Japan, these machines are more than just tools that take away our jobs. They're superheroes, protectors, and even friends. That's right, Japanese culture has long embraced the idea of robots as caretakers and companions. And it all started with a little guy named Astro Boy, created in 1951 by Osamu Tezuka, a physician and illustrator. Astro Boy was the opposite of Pinocchio, a machine that becomes a real boy, rather than the other way around. And from that moment on, the idea of robots as saviors and helpers was embedded in Japanese culture. Now, fast forward to today and we're still seeing the same mindset in action. One Japanese robotic professor dreams of assigning robots to babies at birth so that they can grow and learn with them throughout their lives. Think of it as a lifelong companion, caregiver, and historian, all rolled into one. But here's where things get really interesting. Can these humanoid female robots developed in Japan really be programmed to get pregnant? And could they even give birth to their own robot offspring? It might sound crazy, but stay with us here. Well, the truth is, technology has come a long way since the days of Astro Boy. And while the idea of robot pregnancy might just seem like a far-off concept, there's no denying that the field of robotics is advancing at an incredible rate. Maybe one day we'll see robots with the ability to create their own offspring. Of course, we're not saying that this is going to happen overnight. There are still plenty of ethical and moral considerations to take into account when it comes to the idea of robot parenthood. But the fact remains that the technology is here, and it needs is a few tweaks and twists. Yes, you heard that right, the technology is already here and it's called biorobotics. Alright, now let's see what exactly biorobotics is. For that, we gotta go back to the basics. We all know what a robot is, right? It's a machine that can perform human-like actions and activities. But what if I told you that the robots are evolving beyond what we've imagined so far? With biorobotics, the process of creating machines is being replaced by growing them. Yes, you heard it right, growing machines. And with this comes the possibility of humanoid robots capable of pregnancy. Biorobotics is the process of using biological organisms to develop new technologies. This wide field covers various disciplines like cybernetics, genetic engineering, biomimicry, and synthetic biology. The term biot means biological robot, and it's a smart adjective to describe this field. Now, with the advancement in 3D printing technology, it's possible to create human tissues, stem cells, and even artificial blood cells. This means that bone, cartilage, muscle, teeth, organs, blood, arteries, and even ears can be printed using 3D manufacturing equipment. And with the help of advanced programming and AI, these artificial body parts can be integrated into humanoid robots to simulate human reproductive systems. Now, before you get into a Blade Runner mood, let me tell you this. This is still in the experimental phase, and there are many ethical and moral concerns associated with it. But it's fascinating to think about how far technology has come and how it's changing our perception of what's possible. On the other side, human cloning is also a logical outgrowth of animal research. With the cloning of Dolly the sheep in 1996, the science of cloning became well known, and since then, many other animals have been cloned, including camels, dogs, deer, horses, monkeys, cows, frogs, rabbits, and many others. There are different types of cloning, including gene cloning, reproductive cloning, and therapeutic cloning. But we're not here to talk about cloning, right? Let's get back to the topic at hand. In order for humanoid female robots to get pregnant, we would need artificial wombs. And believe it or not, the idea of an artificial womb has been around for over 60 years. Emanuel Greenberg invented the first artificial womb in 1955, and since then researchers have been experimenting with different ways to create and improve upon this technology. In fact, Japanese researchers were able to nurture goat babies in a machine containing artificial amniotic fluid back in the mid-1990s. And with recent advances in neonatal intensive care, the lowest gestational age for human embryos to survive has been pushed down to less than 22 weeks. That's halfway through a typical 40-week pregnancy. So the technology to create an artificial uterus is definitely within reach. But why would we even want to create a childbearing robot in the first place? Well, for one, it could serve as a replacement organ for women who are unable to carry a child to term. But beyond that, the idea of a robot giving birth to a baby, whether it's a human baby or a baby robot, is pretty mind-blowing. Imagine a world where robots can celebrate Mother's Day. It's not as far-fetched as it sounds. Of course, there are still a lot of questions and ethical concerns surrounding this technology. Would these robots be considered sentient beings with rights? Would they be programmed to have emotions and a sense of attachment to their offspring? And how would this impact human society as a whole? These are all valid questions that we don't have answers to just yet. But let's be real, even if this technology does become a reality, it's going to be a long time before we start seeing pregnant robots walking around. So for now, let's just enjoy the fact that we live in a world where robots can do some pretty amazing things. Alright? Anyways, in the end, what do you guys think? Do drop your views in the comment section below. We'll meet again with another episode. Until then, see you!